Okay. All right. So the first 1 hour lecture, and then after lecture, we're gonna discuss about your midterm test, and then brief about your final assessment. Okay. All right. So I think I have to proceed for the lecture. Okay. So, so for today's topic, okay, last time, okay, so I believe that every of you are excellent in value management, right? You have you have prepared the report, okay, for value management. So obviously you know what is value management is. All right. So alright, so for last 2 weeks we learned about IVRM, okay, integrated. Okay, we integrate between risk management and value management, and then we learn about value management change proposal. Okay, but for this week we're gonna talk about value management and sustainable construction. Meaning what? We integrate value management and sustainable development. We try to link, okay, value management and sustainability. Okay, so all right, so this is just a basic definitions of VM lah. Okay, you know that you are expert in VM. Okay, you are already expert in VM. That VM we are using the 3 stages. Okay, the safe okay, so we are applying this SAFE International 7 sequential phases for performing a successful VM study. Okay, the stage described in 3 phases. Okay, pre-workshop, workshop, and post-workshop. Okay, this is what you have learned from Surveyor Lee and Miss Q, right? Okay, so we have 3 phases. We have pre-workshop, we have workshop phase, and then we have post-workshop. Okay, 3 major phases which consists of, okay, this is pre-study, and then we go to information, function analysis, creativity, evaluation, development phase, and then presentation, and then we started to implement. Okay, I do not need to explain each of the phases. Okay, so this is value management. Okay, now what is sustainable development? What is sustainability, or what is green? Okay, sometimes people, practitioners, they use green terms. Okay, sometimes they use sustainable. Okay, so bear in mind that sustainable and green is the same concept. Okay, which the concept is beneficial to economic, environmental, and social aspect. Okay, sustainable, sometimes they use green. Okay, or sometimes they use eco-friendly. Okay, all right. So now, what is sustainable development? Okay, the construction industry, okay, that has a vital impact on the environment and people, and also economic. Okay, the construction industry has a vital impact on the environmental aspect, economic aspect, and people. People meaning social aspect. Okay, so on a global scale, the construction industry and its product, okay, contribute to environmental problems, okay, sustainability issues, okay, for example, like pollution, okay, through resources depletion, energy consumption, air pollution, and waste creation. Okay, so this is sustainable development. Okay, sustainable development. Okay, the definitions of the sustainable development itself. Okay, it is the development, okay, which meets the needs of the present, okay, without compromising the ability of future generation to meet needs. Okay, so this sustainable development. Okay, meaning this means that any economic development activities, okay, it must consider its impact. Okay, it must consider its impact on the environmental aspect, on the natural resources, local communities, surrounding areas, and need to ensure the continuous development, okay, to ensure that we can protect yeah, we can protect for the next generation lah, okay, from the harmful effect. Okay. Okay, sustainable development integrates a variety of subjects, okay, environmental, economic, and social. Okay. So, so this is the illustration. Okay, we call illustration of triple bottom line. Okay, illustration of triple bottom line. Okay, sustainable development is when we talk about sustainable development, okay, it is often presented as three. It's often presented as three. Okay, presented as three interconnected. Sorry, excuse me. Where are we just now? Okay, sustainable development is always presented as three interconnected rings. Okay, economic ring, environmental ring, and social ring. Okay, so these three interconnected ring as symbols, okay, to bring the three aspect lah, okay, to bring the economic, environmental, and social aspect together in a balanced way. All right, so these three balance, so it's approaching sustainability. Okay. Okay. Okay, so sustainability in construction. Okay, we have environmental aspect, social aspect, and economic aspect. Okay, so whenever we design the building, we construct the building, it must consider these three aspects. Okay, our environment, our building must be environmental protection. It must be social well-being. It must be economic prosperity. Okay. Okay, so environmental aspect, okay, environmental aspect, it touch about built environment and the natural resources. Okay, for example, okay, the location and our land utilization, okay, our material selection for our building, okay, our energy conservation, okay, must good for energy conservation, water quality, okay, waste minimization. Okay, so whenever we design the building, it must be waste minimization, pollution control, and biodiversity and ecology. Okay, so this is environmental aspect. So what is for social aspect? Okay, whenever we design the building, we construct the building, okay, it must good for workers' well-being and community benefits, user benefit. Okay, for example, the building is good for health and welfare. It must is good in safety issues. Okay, occupants comfort and satisfaction. Okay, accessibility, aesthetic. Okay, nuisance to neighbors, social involvement. Okay, and then whenever we design the building, it must be good in terms of economic aspect. Okay. Okay, micro benefits and micro and macro benefits. Okay. Okay, it must good in terms of whole life cost. Okay, as you learned previously, you learned that whole life cost. Okay, life cycle cost starting from construction until demolition of the building. Okay, so your building must be good in economic aspect, must be good in life cycle cost. Okay, must be good in terms of image, okay, business enhancement. Okay, good in legislation compliance. Okay, cost efficiency, and good in risk assessment. Okay, so this is sustainability in building construction. Okay, so 1 minute, I go get my drink. Okay. Okay. So I continue. Okay. All right. So in Malaysia, the term green, okay, for instance, green building is widely used. Okay, so in Malaysia, we commonly use green building instead of sustainable building, but it's the same thing. Okay, green building belonging to the concept of sustainable development. It is one of the possible solutions to achieve sustainable development in all projects towards sustainable construction. Okay, meaning what? Green building is one of the sustainability approach. Okay, one of the sustainability approach in their environment lah. All right, but now we are not only focusing on that green building. We have green construction, meaning we started that green adoption since from design construction. Okay, meaning we have green design, we have green procurement. Okay, we have green procurement now. The way we hire the contractor, etc. We are using green concept. Okay, we check on their green experience. Okay, so starting from green procurement, green design, green construction, again, and then we have green building. All right, so and then after that they go for green operation and maintenance, and then they go for green demolition, meaning the whole life cycle we adopt sustainability. Okay, so both green and sustainable building come from the same concept that can facilitate sustainable construction, meaning both green and sustainable building to achieve economic, environmental, and social aspect lah. Okay, so therefore green building is an alternative to achieve sustainable development and should include all three aspects of environmental, social, economic. Okay, we always relate to environmental, social, and economic. Okay, that's important. Okay, so whenever you answer your final assessment, okay, you need to always relate to these three important aspects. Okay, social and economic only it doesn't shows your sustainability. Okay, we need these three aspects. Okay, so we are only focusing on green building. Okay, so why green building? So this is the benefits of benefits of green building. Okay, so our green building efficiently use resources, okay, energy and water, or even when we construct, okay, we are using raw materials, okay, efficiently use the raw material, okay, throughout its life cycle. And then the benefits of green building, it maintain the capacity of the ecosystem at local and global level, okay, reducing waste, pollution, okay, emission of toxic substance and environmental degradation, operational saving, okay, our buildings sustain and improve the quality of human life, health and productivity. And then our building increase asset value, enhance marketability and corporate image. Okay, when we look at these 6 benefits of green building, it's actually covered the environmental aspect, the economic aspect, and the social aspect. Okay, in Malaysia, we have a few green rating tools. Okay, we have few rating tools. We have in Malaysia we have GBI, right? We have GBI, meaning rating tools to to assess, to evaluate, okay, to evaluate how green the building is. Okay, they have a few criteria lah on that GBI. Okay, so they assess the building. Okay, they evaluate the building, how green the building are. All right. So according to the criteria stated in that GBI. Okay, and then when they they achieve a certain score, so they will be certified as green building. Okay, there's a few levels lah. Okay, they're the certified green. Okay, they have silver green, they have gold, they have platinum. Okay, so this is according to the score that they receive. Okay, if let's say the building receive more than 50 points, if I'm not mistaken, so they are platinum green building. Okay, so this is they are using Malaysia commonly use GBI. Okay, green building index, but we have a few. We have green pass. Okay, we have green pass developed by CIDB. Okay, for GBI developed by Persatuan Arkitek Malaysia, okay, PAM, and also Association of Consulting Engineers Malaysia. Okay, GBI developed by PAM and ACEM. Okay, Association of Consulting Engineers Malaysia. Okay, kalau green pass developed by CIDB. Okay, and then we have what else? We have GRE, Green Real Estate. Okay, this one developed by Rehda. And then what else? One more thing. One more rating tools are developed by JKR. Skim penilaian penarafan hijau, JKR. Skim penilaian penarafan hijau. Okay, that one developed by JKR. Okay, so but this GBI, which is commonly used in Malaysia lah, okay, to assess the building, to certify the building, because GBI is always they always update. Okay, GBI Sdn Bhd, they always update their criteria. Okay, they update their content. Okay, so Malaysia they are mostly using GBI. Okay, in KL, in Penang, we are using GBI. All right. Okay. Okay, the demand on green. Okay, so there is demand on green, especially in value management. Okay, so value specialists, they have an excellent opportunity to contribute green. Okay, because they are already known for significant cost saving to government and corporate project. Okay, they are special. They expert in costing, they are expert in function, they are expert in quality. Okay, so it's a great opportunity for them to apply, to adopt green concept. Right, and then so today owners desire sustainable solutions, cost effective, okay, protect the environment, save water, energy and other resources. Okay, owners desire sustainable solutions. Owner gain a green solution that is LCC effective and providing value for money. Value specialists need to become familiar with sustainability. Okay, LCC and checklists such as GBI, okay, to identify ideas for project consideration, excellent opportunity to contribute. Okay, any questions so far? Any question? Okay, sustainable. Right. Thank you. Okay. All right. So since there is a demand, okay, there is a demand to apply the sustainable concept into value management. Okay, so whenever they conduct value management, whenever they identify the functions, they calculate the costing, etc., they need to apply, they need to concern about sustainability issues. Okay, so VM is a powerful approach, okay, for cost saving and for quality improvement. Okay, VM does not just influence project cost and quality, okay, but also prove to have positive effect on the environmental and then worldwide trend of green construction, in the sense that VM takes into consideration both the initial cost and the life cycle cost of any given project. Okay, so value management does not only talk about the cost, not only talk about the quality, okay, but actually the quality itself, okay, give a positive effect on the environmental aspect. Okay, for example, whenever you choose the raw materials for your building, okay, so that raw material must be good, it must be not harm to the occupants, or not harm to the construction workers. Okay, for example, like asbestos. Asbestos is very harmful, right? So you try, okay, you bring this material into value management, okay, and then you do something, you discuss, okay, we try to find out other alternative, okay, instead of using asbestos, okay, which materials that are more good to environmental aspect, okay, or even the social aspect, okay, the safety of the workers. All right, so to apply sustainability principle, following steps are considered during project. Okay, so to apply sustainability into value management, okay, So we need to we need to concern about the consumption of non-renewable energy resources. Okay, consumption of non-renewable energy resources should be minimized. Okay, protection and conservation of friendly material should be adopted. Appropriate design and construction solution. Okay. Okay. So value management, sustainable development linkage will be explained here in the following sequence. Okay, a brief. Okay, so whenever we conduct value management workshop, okay, we brief. How to say when you try if let's say in final assessment, okay, if let's say in final assessment I ask you to link between value management and sustainable development, okay, what you should do, okay, you should have a brief description of each phase, okay, meaning you have to explain the information phase, okay, the creativity phase, evaluation phase, okay, meaning you have a brief description of each phases of the VM job plan. Okay, and then you outlining the VM activities. Okay, what's supposed to be in these activities? What's supposed to be in creativity? What's supposed to be in evaluation? And then you summarizing the sustainable construction issue. Okay, it's not kind of it's not summarizing, meaning you discuss. Okay, you try discuss what are the sustainability issues, okay, to be concerned in information phase, in creativity phase, or even in evaluation phase. Okay, you apply. Okay, and then define the VM sustainable development synergy by stating the proposed outcome of each phases. Okay, meaning like the example lah. Okay, you provide example. Okay, you provide proposed solution, proposed outcome, your result from this information, your result from this creativity. Okay, you generate ideas, etc. So what are your proposed outcome? Okay, that is how we link the value management and sustainable development if come out in final assessment. Okay, okay. So the last slide, okay. Take a break 1 minute, yeah. Okay. So this is okay, if you can see here the important the 7 importance of value management process. Okay, we have pre-workshop, we have information phase, we have creativity phase, okay, evaluation phase, development phase, okay, presentation, and then implementation phase. Okay, so this is your 7 basic process of value management. Okay. Okay, so we take a look on pre-workshop. All right, so this pre-workshop, so this stage, this phase involve the planning for the planning for your value management workshop, right? Okay, so this is the planning stage, okay, for your value management workshop, which we appoint the facilitator, we meet with the client, we select participants. Okay, redundant. Okay. Or we obtain project data and information. Okay, what else? We obtain the key documents. Okay, we try to get the key documents. Okay, for example, like the scope of work, okay, the drawing, okay, the specifications, report, project estimate. Okay, and then we at this stage also we value, okay, appoint facilitator. Okay, we appoint facilitator, we select participants. Okay, meaning we identify the value team members lah. Okay, and also, okay, when we try to when we try to adopt sustainability, when we try to adopt sustainability concept, so at this phase we identify sustainability issues. Okay, we identify the sustainability issues, we prioritize the sustainability issues. Okay. All right. All right. So this pre-study, how to say, the pre-study outcome, okay, it should be able to show a clear understanding of what senior management needs to have addressed, okay, what the strategic priorities, okay, and how to improve, okay, how to say, how improvement will increase the value. Okay, so it is during this phase that a view is formed, okay, as to whether subsequent phases tend to produce sufficient value, okay, to justify the cost of the study, okay, according to the prescribed conditions lah. Okay. All right, and then okay, one more thing, okay, when we select the participants, because we try to link with the sustainable development, we try to develop something with green. So one of the important participants, one of the members that we should have is GBI facilitator. Okay, because this is a green expert. Okay, we should have this GBI facilitator. Okay, so at this stage, we already identify the sustainability issues. Okay, maybe the issues of air pollution, maybe the issues of the usage of renewable, non-renewable resources. Okay, we have identified this. All right, so in this, okay, next we move to information phase. So we know that in the phase, the team attempts to understand, okay, why the project exists and who or what is to produce. Okay, so the VM team, they obtain project data, okay, they present the original design or product concept, and then we understand the project scope lah. Okay, the schedule, cost, budget, what else, risk, and other non-monetary issues. okay, will be studied, okay, until the team is comfortable with the original concept of the project. Okay, what is to produce, who is the end user. Okay, so this step also include activities like site visit. Okay. Okay, so so in this stage of project documents like the drawing, the plans, okay, specification and report, okay, obtained, okay, and the VM team becomes familiar with them lah. So I explain balik what you have learned dulu lah. Alright. So meaning at the beginning of a VM study, so it's important lah for us to understand the design, okay, to understand the owner's objective, the owner's needs and requirements. Okay. Alright, so so at this phase, the issues bordering on sustainability, okay, the issues bordering on sustainability could be discussed, okay, to ensure the sustainable development. Okay, for example, like you talk about minimization of energy consumption, okay, and the use of renewable recyclable resources, or maybe, okay, the information you try to get the information on the on how to protect the natural environment, how to design the building with minimum waste. And or maybe we target for lean construction. Yeah. So information phase outcome, it should be able to bring all the team members to a basic level of understanding of the project, right? Okay. All right. All right. So we have function analysis, can we have function analysis? We create what we call we create fast diagram. Okay, so by using this fast diagram also, we can how to say yeah, whenever we try to solve the issues of sustainability issues, we need to create fast diagram also. Okay, for example, like in order to for example, like the issues is, okay, the issues concern is about energy consumption. Okay, we identify here is the issue is energy consumption. Okay, so we bring all this information to this, okay, energy consumption, and then we create fast diagram. Okay, we do the analysis, we create fast diagram. Okay, one of the method of energy consumption, for example, like ventilation system. Okay, so we create the diagram of ventilation system. Okay, what's the function of ventilation system? To ventilate the area. Okay, how to ventilate the area? We create opening, for example. Okay, so phases by phases, we talk about sustainability. All right, and then we move to creativity phase. So, yeah. Okay, creativity phase. Okay, this phase involve generation of creative ideas. Okay, and then we list them. All right. So at this phase, okay, we know that large numbers of ideas are generated. Okay, through brainstorming technique. Okay, through brainstorming technique, but no judgment of ideas at this stage. Okay. Okay. During information phase, we concern about the ventilation system. We concern about the energy consumption and the ventilation system. Okay, so at this creativity phase, okay, we try to generate ideas, okay, as many as we can, okay, without judgment. Okay, what kind of design, what kind of materials that can help improve the ventilation system, or what types of ventilation system. Okay, for example, we are using mechanical system, we are using mechanical ventilation, or we are using natural ventilation. Okay, so which one? If let's say we are using mechanical, so what are the mechanical appliances we need? If you are using natural ventilation system, so how we design the building? Okay, south to north, north to south, okay? Something like that. So we generate the ideas. And then we go to evaluation, the judgment. Okay, so at this stage we started to judge, we started to we started to evaluate the ideas that are generated in creativity phase. Okay. Okay, as we know that evaluation phase we are using what last time we are using complex democratic, right? We are using complex democratic. Okay, so whenever the ideas that we have generated, okay, we always link with, remember the criteria, here. Okay, we should put the green criteria also. Okay, reduce air pollution, for example, reduce waste. Okay, safety and security, something like that. Okay, meaning whenever you evaluate the ideas in a complex democratic, so we always link to the selection criteria. Okay, which selection criteria includes the green punya aspect. Okay, social aspect, economic aspect, and environmental aspect. Okay, so from this we select best ideas. Okay, we select the best one lah. Alright, and then the best ideas we move to development phase. Okay, so here we started to calculate WLC, whole life cost. Okay, so the same thing, we are using NPV, or we are using payback period, we are using IRR. It depends on that organization, but normally we are using WLC. Okay, so in this WLC, so we include features for sustainability lah in the proposal. So of course lah, whenever the best green ideas that we have in WLC, in evaluation that selected in the evaluation phase, so we bring to WLC. We start to calculate. Okay, we start to calculate how much saving that we can obtain from that alternative, from that ideas, from that material, for example, from that design. Okay, so in this so as you know that in WLC we need to compare, right? We need to compare the original design and the proposed design. Okay, and there's a few items lah in WLC. Okay, we need to we need to compare the original and proposed. Okay, compare the cost, advantages, disadvantages. Okay, and then we need to also present the we need to include the description, the sketch, okay, the basic design concept, the technical information, the cost summary. Okay. All right, and then any questions so far? Until development, you got the ideas? It's the same concept. It's the same concept. It's the same concept, your value management, but we are but now any ideas, any issues, or any ideas that we generate, that we evaluate, that we develop, okay, the ideas with sustainability. Okay, your ideas which is achieving sustainability. Okay. All right, any questions so far until development phase? Okay. All right. And then we move to presentation. Okay. After we develop, okay, the proposal, we develop the WLC, and then we go for presentation phase. Okay. We present the proposal. All right. So in this stage, how to say, the presentation of the recommendation, okay, the presentation of the proposal, okay, in the form of report, okay, in the form of your report lah. Okay, so it's normally presented by the VM team lah. Okay, the VMTC. And then yeah, we present it to the we present this to the clients, present this to the designers. Okay, so so at this stage, okay, the client, the designer, they start to evaluate again. Okay, during this presentation, so the client, they start to evaluate again. Okay. They start to evaluate. And then they try to incorporate, okay, their comments, okay, on this in this preliminary proposal. Okay, and what action plan is prepared. Okay. Okay, so of course during this presentation, okay, the presenter, they will highlight the sustainability features. Okay, they highlight about the ideas that they generate just now lah, and then the cost, everything. Okay. And then implementation and feedback. Okay, so the last stage, implementation and feedback. So how to say, following following delivery of the value management prelim report, okay, management and the project team, they must digest and agree upon the VM proposal to be implemented. And then how and by when the implementation will occur. Okay. Okay, so normally at this stage they started to plan. They will conduct their implementation meeting. Okay, the implementation meeting, they prepare everything for they plan everything for the action lah. Okay, for the post study. We know that the post study, right? So they prepare everything here lah. Okay, implementation meeting. Okay, meaning they approve everything lah. Right? They validate. Okay, they validate the reports. They validate the benefits of the report. They validate the saving, everything. Okay. So implementation phase, they should tell what is changed in the project, okay, as a result of value management study. Okay, so these are usually alternative to the original concept of or base case of a study. Okay, that the project development, they will incorporate as changes in a future design or product development activities. Okay, all right, and then after implementation, they go for the last stage lah. Okay, post study. So after this, they go for, after implementation, we have another one phase, right? Okay, post study. Okay, so the post study portion of value management study, they include the what we call the finalization of the report. Okay, the finalization of the report in order to incorporate the value management proposal developed, okay, during your workshop. The designer, the designer then they respond. Okay, they respond by accepting and incorporating the proposal into the project design, or rejecting the proposal, or recommending for further study. Okay, so normally the clients, okay, the designer, they put this decision into writing lah. Okay, into writing. Okay. Okay, so you got the ideas how value management and sustainability development, how we link value management and sustainability development. Any question? Any question? No? Question? So far no is okay. So okay, we take a break for 3 minutes. Okay, so by 9:30, we will have a discussion on your midterm test. Okay? Okay, let's take a break for 3 minutes. Okay? Mm. So, okay, class. Miss Q, Surveyor Lee, are you in?
One
Yes.
Alima and class.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, I am the
so
class already.
okay, so probably I think I will try to discuss the group assignment first. Okay, before we Miss Q to join. So okay, I take over first lah.
All right.
Okay, so class, good morning class. Okay, so far I have marked your assignment, but generally I noticed that there are some of the pitfall or common mistake that have been made in the assignment. Okay, so of course hereby I will briefly to discuss the common mistake that you all have made in the assignment. Okay, so perhaps I will try to share the screen. Okay, so there are quite a lot of mistakes there. Okay, this one is just to let you all to know the improvement now. Huh? Okay, first. Okay, I noticed that some of the group, when you include the executive summary. Okay, what you did is that you try to include or you try to show the executive summary to shown before the table of content. Okay, that means that your executive of summary was shown before the table of content. And out the executive summary is just like the abstract of the FYP projects. Okay, but you need to bear in mind that actually this is an assignment. Okay, actually it's not a final year report. So usually for the executive summary, it's much recommended to show after the table of content. Okay, this is just what call a small mistakes only lah. Okay, second, okay, for your assignment, I already mentioned for you to conduct the VM workshop or VM study. So generally, your project should have encounter an issue. Okay, by right, your project should have encountered an issue. So meaning to say that, okay, your problem, there's something wrong with your project initially first. Okay, so of course some of the group you did mention it very well. You mentioned that, oh, due to the pandemic, okay, so end out your progress to your construction work has been delayed, and then the developer or the client encounter the cash flow problem and etc. Yes, this should be your initial issue. Okay, this should be your initial problem. Okay, but some of the group, it seems like there's no any problem to the project. And then in the report, you just mentioned that, oh, the client insists want the VM study to be conducted so that to identify the poor value. Then subsequently, you just identify the poor value. Okay. Of course, in the real project, I'm not saying that this is not possible, but it is very, very, very rare that if you problem don't have any problem, and then you proceed with the VM study. This is a very, very rare case. Usually, why you need VM study is that an issue happen first. Okay, it's not saying that, oh, your project goes smoothly, your project is very okay, there's no much problem, and then you suddenly you call and VM study. It's very, very rare. But of course, there's a possibility, but it is very, very rare. Why? Because you need to imagine how you're going to convince your client, or this unlikely the client is starting calls ask you saying that, oh, I want a VM study. It's very, very rare, because the project does not go anything wrong, so correct. So usually this might be something happen first. So in other words, supposingly you need to describe, okay, supposingly you need to describe uh what happened, okay. You need to describe the project issue first, the project problem first, okay. Of course, similarly, you can also to explain the project constraint or the study constraint, as well as the client expectation if you want, or client concern. Okay, so actually this will make your better it will make your report better. So generally you have your project encounter an issue, so that's why you need VM study. So from there you're able to identify the poor value element. Okay, it's not saying that you don't have anything, then you suddenly you corner the VM, then yeah, then from the VM study, then you only able to identify the poor. Actually, should not happen in such a way. Okay. Okay. Third is that for your, although this assignment required you all to use the complex democratic for the evaluation method, correct? Okay, for the evaluation phase, actually I require you all to use a complex democratic but surprisingly, I think most of the group, okay, the arithmetic area are spotted on the complex democratic arithmetic area, meaning to say that you just calculate, okay, calculate the score. There's the error, especially when you want to calculate, let's say, because we have the A, B, C, D, E, correct? For the criteria, you have different A to E. So let's say right now you want to calculate the score for A, the score for B. Surprisingly, there's an error. Just a simple mathematics, actually, there's an error. Okay? Some more, it's not one group. I would say it's major group. You have this issue. So you have the arithmetic. You have the other arithmetic area on the complex democratic. Okay? Okay, fourth. Okay, similarly happened to this complex democratic. What happened is that, yes, although during the lecture, during the what call the notes, we have given you what call a criteria or even an example that to be used for the evaluation. Okay, but what happened is that most of the group, right, you also tend to use one set fit all criteria, and then you use this one set fit all criteria, you apply to all element. Okay, actually not necessarily must be in these cases. Why? Because each of the proposal, each of the element, you might need different set of criteria due to the different requirement, different scenario. Pretty simple. So it is not necessarily must be one set fit all criteria to be used. Not necessary. Okay. This is another loopholes. Okay. Actually, there's many. Okay. After that. So similarly, you need to apply fast diagram, correct? For your fast diagram, the pitfall is that your fast diagram, your group, you didn't test the fast diagram. Okay, you didn't test the fast diagram, especially when you want to talk about the how and why logic. You didn't test. Okay, second pitfall, is especially pertaining to the concurrent function. Okay, concurrent function. I noticed that some of your group, your concurrent function, what call there's no any relationship with the function that trigger it. There's no relation at all to the function that trigger it. It seems like the concurrent function, you just suddenly put it downwards, and then you just deem it as a concurrent function. But when you try to study the concurrent function, because as we know, for the concurrent function, when you draw downwards, it refers to the activities, correct? But the activity itself seems like it's irrelevant to the function that trigger it. Irrelevant. It seems like end up you just for the sake to complete the fast diagram, then you just put it there. So actually, this is something not that what call should not happen. Okay. Okay. Then next. So most you need to calculate your life cycle costing, correct? But when you calculate your life cycle costing, yeah, I noticed that some of your group you try to include the salvage value, okay, or salvage cost. Okay, I think some of you might confuse the salvage value and the disposal cost. You deem these two are equivalent. Actually, it's no. These two are two different. It gives you two different meaning. Okay, what is mean by salvage cost? Salvage cost, in other words, put it simple, your resale value. What is mean by resale value? For instance, let's say you have the element, let's say like talking about steel. Let's say your building actually is a steel structure. So you know that steel, you have the resale value. So when you have resale value, actually it will give what called positive value to your life cycle costing. That means that it will lower down your life cycle costing, correct? Okay, then somehow, some of the group, yes, what you did is that even you propose a element like let's say like the floor finishes, okay, like the tiles, floor finishes like the tiles, and then you claim that there's a resale value. I just wonder how these tiles you have the resale value after, let's say, after some more your project is all talking about 60 years, 70 years, up to 100 years. After 100 years, your used tile, your demolished tile, you still can resell it. Actually, I have a inquiry, I have doubt on it. Okay? So the salvage cost usually is talk about your resale value. Let's say you talk about the steel element, or your proposal is talking about a system or a machine whereby you can reuse, you can sell it later. Yes, that kind of element, yes, you come with a salvage cost. If let's say you talk about the concrete finishes most likely it only have the disposal cost. If let's say you only have the disposal cost, that means that you have to increase your life cycle costing rather than reducing it, because it wouldn't give a positive value, Okay, so this is another things. Okay, then another pitfall in the life cycle costing. You talk about the maintenance cost. Okay, most of you, yes, you say that, oh, you have the maintenance cost. Yes, but the problem is that you didn't mention it in terms of what. You just allocate, yeah, maintenance cost. So probably you ask maintenance cost in terms of what? Because maintenance cost can be many type. It can be in type of cleaning. It can be replacement. Okay, and so on. So your maintenance cost, you in terms of what? You didn't mention. Okay, and then some more your maintenance cost. It seems like you just simply, most of you just use the percentage. Okay, you just use 5%, 10%. So how you get the 5%? How you get the 10%? Supposingly, if possible, let's say you talk about cleaning cost, of course you can use the current market. Okay, you can assume, okay, let's say to what call to do the cleaning, how much hour you need, then per market right now per hour is how much, then you only calculate accordingly. That should be a more appropriate way. rather than you just saying that, oh, a 5%, a 10%. Why? If let's say you use 5 or 10, then probably there's an inquiry. Why you don't use 8%? Why you don't use 10%? Correct. So that's why if let's say you just use the percentage, it's better for you to have the justification. Okay. Okay. The next. Okay. This is talking about your VM team member formation. Talking about your team member formation. Okay. Some of your group, when you try to show the list of VM team member in the assignment, what happened is that you didn't show their affiliation. And what is mean by affiliation? That means that they belong to which organization, belong to which company. You didn't show it at all. You just merely tell that, let's say XYZ is an architect, XYZ is a QS, XYZ is an engineer. That's all. Okay. Subsequently, you just give the maybe just a contact only. That's all. Actually, this is a poor representation. By right, you should show the affiliation. That means that you need to tell where this fella come from, where this fella they are from which company, their email, their contact, okay, even their prefix. What is mean by prefix? Prefix is some sort like the title before your name. Why actually this is important in the project? Because as mentioned, your VM team members supposedly to be attended by those senior and experienced people. Not necessarily must be senior, but must be experienced. Let's say you invite your architect in, you invite your QS in, engineer in. So usually, let's say it's without a prefix. So there's a concern whether they are the registered professional member or not. So usually it's much recommended you to invite those with what call register profession. Okay. So if let's say they are the registered profession, usually they will have the AR, IR, SR title. Okay. This is another pitfall. Okay. And then another one. Okay. This is very common mistake. I think has been made to most of the group when talk about this VM team member formation. Okay. Actually, I don't know the logic why most of the group you try to include the landscape architect. Okay, you try to include the landscape architect. Of course, yes. If your proposal you involve the landscape work, yes, we can invite landscape architect. They will be wrong. But the problem is that in the problem, in the proposal, your proposal is non-related to the landscape architect at all. That means that your proposal is talking about you are changing the element, you're changing the finishes. And then suddenly in your VMT member, you have this landscape architect. Then actually the question will be, why actually you need the landscape architect? Since actually you don't involve any landscape work. Okay? Your team member selection, you must be must be relevant to your problem, to your needs. So that's one of the issue. Okay, and then not only that, for a landscape architect, okay, even though sometimes or another issue is that some of you try to include interior designer. Okay, it looks like it is what I call it is possible. But what happened is that when you look at your proposal, similarly your proposal, you are talking about the changes of, let's say, just only the element of finishes only, whereby in certain extent your architect itself is sufficient, is enough to provide the advice already. So in other words, actually I no need the interior designer. Why? Because my architect is there. Unless you claim that your interior designer perform better than your architect lah. But it's very, very rare, correct? Because you are not talking about you changing the whole design and so on. You just merely changing an element only, one element to one element, one finish to one finishes. Why actually you need the interior designer? Whereby the architect itself actually I think is sufficient to provide the necessary advice. Okay, and then some more. Some of the group. Okay, in your VM team member formation, you think that, oh, I want I want subcontractor. Okay, so the question is that which trade you invite all subcontractor? Is it, you didn't mention which trade, you just mentioned subcontractor. Subcontractor can be many trade. So you need to mention which of the what I call, which trade actually the subcontractor involved in. Okay, and then similarly, okay, let's say you want to talk about, you want to change for the proposal, let's say you want to change for the wall and etc. Okay, then suddenly you have the what I call the wall specialist lah, something like that. Wall specialist, similarly, I have the engineer. My registered engineer is sufficient to provide the advice already. Why actually you need what we call the wall specialist? Okay, some more, I don't know, some of the group even mentioned that what we call wall specialist engineer, something like that. And then I just wonder where actually our country have a new engineer called wall specialist engineer, some sort like that. Okay, so actually this is something, it seems like you just, of course, suddenly create a new profession due to the proposal. Okay, another mistake. This is another mistake. Okay, and then another one. Okay, so I request you all to do the function analysis, correct? So in the functional analysis form, especially the cost to work table, you all are to identify the pole value. So in the cost to work table, actually you need to identify basic function, secondary function, require secondary functions, correct? Okay, basic function, secondary function seems like okay to everyone. Seems like okay to everyone. But I think most of the group you confuse with your required secondary function. Okay, what happened is that, let's say, seems like I think you confused with the word required. Okay, what I mean is that, let's say for example, okay, let's say I give an example. I just give an example. Let's say talking about the wall. Okay, some of the group, when you talk about the wall, when you want to identify the required secondary function for wall, you just put, okay, insulate sound, insulate weather. Yes, the wall actually supposed to perform the insulation function. Yes, but in the required secondary function does not mean that. Okay, the required function, what is mean by required secondary function, class? If you still can recall your notes, okay, under the information phase, what is mean by required secondary function? Even in the tutorial, we have learned this required secondary function. What is mean by required secondary function? Required secondary function is that without it, okay, your building might not get any certificate, or you must comply it due to the law, due to the regulation that we refer as the required secondary function. This one. Okay, some the function that actually you need to meet code, you need to meet the standard, you need to make the mandatory requirement. Okay, let's say talking about, let's say I use the just now the example, the wall. Even the wall cannot insulate sound lah. You cannot claim that you can say that actually it does not, it does not meet the what I call the requirement. No ma. But a more appropriate example, let's say for instance, like control fire. Okay, resist. Let's say you fight fire. Yes, why this actually this will be your required secondary function. Why? Because you know that your building without this, okay, you cannot get the certificate of fitness or CCC or CPC in this case. So this function actually will be more appropriate to be classified as a required secondary function. Okay, it's not simply saying that, oh, the function actually whereby the element or the component must perform, that one is the required, the word required. No, actually the required secondary function does not mean that. Required secondary function, it means that those functions that actually you need to meet code, that you need to meet the standard, that you need to meet the mandatory requirement. Okay, let's say you have the UBBL, you have the building regulation, that one. That kind of function, let's say to resist fire, to control fire, yes, that one you can classify as required secondary function. Okay, I think most of the group you have this issue, confusion about this required secondary function. Okay, and then talking about your value management methodology, okay, the pitfall is that most of the group you describe it in very general. So that means that you are telling what happens. You only tells what is information phase, what is development phase, what is creative phase. That's all. To a more appropriate explanation to this part, supposingly you should tell what you have done in that particular phase. It's not about what is that phase, but you need to tell what you have done in that phase rather than you telling what is that phase. Clear? But I think most of the group, actually, you just explain it very generally. You just tell me what is that phase. Okay? Similarly to your, okay, so talking about this methodology, I noticed that some of the group you include post study. Of course, this is not a big issue, but you need to remember that your report actually is the initial VM report, whereby actually you can exclude your post study. Okay. And then similarly, the reason of advocating VM. Okay, in other words, we are talking about the VM advantages. Wow, some of you, because under the under Miss Q, Severe Q have taught you all the advantages of VM, correct? Okay, some more you can get a plenty of information from online, then you all plug in. To a more better presentation, you should explain in relation to the project itself. Okay, in relation to the VM study that you have taken. What are the advantages actually you have benefited from the VM study in that particular project, not in a general. Okay, and then similarly, your comparison of approaches. Okay, your comparison with other approaches. Okay, what happened is that, although I know that, yeah, your tutorial 2, your tutorial question 1, we are talking about your VM and cost cutting, correct? So what happened is that, all of the group actually you start to compare just only VM and the cost cutting. I already mentioned actually it's talking about your other approaches, so you can compare more than that. So I think not much of group what call you compare more than that. Most of the group you only compare about your cost cutting and the design review, whereby this you covered in the tutorial. Okay, how about the lecture have been taught by Puan Alima? Puan Alima have what I call have gone through with you all about the risk management. You can compare the VM with the risk management as well. You also can let's say some of you have done it in your FYP. You can talk about the lean management if you want. If let's say you don't know what is lean management, never mind. Maybe total quality management or even project management. You also can do the comparison rather than you just compare with the cost cutting only. Okay. Okay. Another thing is that, okay, I know that there's a due to the time page limit lah. I know that this is a page limit, but I noticed that talking about the important supporting document like BQ, okay, like your worksheet, like your cost worksheet, okay. Supposedly this BQ, this course worksheet, supposedly you should be included in the main report rather than you put it all in as the appendices. Okay, but this is not a very big issue lah, just for a recommendation. Okay, and then the lastly, this is just something actually I think you all can learn. I think most of the group, you have the workshop agenda. That's a good thing. That's a good sign. But I think only one or two group, they do include the meeting minutes. Okay. It is a good practice to include the meeting minutes, especially for the pre-study. Let's say you have conducted your pre-study, correct? So you can attach the meeting minutes for the pre-study, because probably that will record down what has been discussed, what have been done in the stage. Okay. And then lastly, you talk about, okay, some of the group, when you talk about your pre-study phase, you talk about you have conducted your site visit lah, correct? You have you have conducted the interview, but the issue is that you didn't mention when. You just mentioned that the site visit and interview has been completed. That's all. But you didn't mention when. Which day you didn't mention. Okay. So generally, these are the pitfall that actually I managed to get from your group assignments lah. Okay, perhaps some of the take home message. Okay, perhaps you right now you cannot redo, but I think some of the take home message is that, let's say for instance like the meeting minutes, I believe this you can learn this. Let's say next time when you have the assignment or you have any work, okay, whereby sometime you can attach with the meeting minutes. Okay, so basically this is some my comment about your VM assignment. Okay, since our presentation, we also involve Puan Aklima and Dr. Felicia. Okay, is it Dr. Felicia here? Okay, seems like.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah. Why our team cannot see you? Cannot see your name? Okay, any comment from Dr. Felicia about their presentation as well as their assignment?
I think those who stay back, the students that stay back for their presentation in my group, I think roughly I have indirectly highlighted some of the issues that I found. And I think some of it you have already covered. And then in addition is that I would say for the report, your executive summary as well as your summary proposal, if you look back, okay, it has to be able to assist the top management or even your clients, okay, to make decision in a glance. So all the sufficient, all the pertinent information has to be included in this tool. And then your executive summary, of course, it has to be a short one, okay, maximum you may go up to, I think, about 2 pages. So preferably is about 1 page, okay, and then followed by your summary. So that two, okay, these two parts actually is the important one to be able to make decisions, okay, even the clients or the representative or whoever that would make the decision or to come up which are the proposals they want to accept without needing to actually look into further unless they want to. So these two documents must be able to help them in I would say such situation as well. So of which I don't really able to see just yet, maybe one groups perhaps out of some of the groups report that I managed to go through. And then also for the life cycle of the project or the buildings, I think you all have to check out. Okay, majority of you all have gone through your estimating or even your costs, your construction economics. So you all should know the projects, okay, what is the lifespan by now, okay, and not swinging from maybe 50, 40, 20, 25, or you make assumption which is not supported. So this is one of the things. Also for your evaluation metrics, okay, the criteria. So apart from the calculation errors, simple arithmetical whereby you add the A, B, C, D, or all the numberings. So the criteria are also important that at the first glance, okay, what does your criteria reflect on? And normally it should go hand in hand, matching with your 3 sheets for your life cycle costing or your development phase part, whereby the first one probably it has some linkage towards your advantages or disadvantages section. So that is also a linkage on the criteria section. And then the wordings that you include the criteria, okay, sometimes I saw no effectiveness or efficient, but in what sense, in what way? So you have to make sure what are the criteria that you put in, not to say for the sake of putting in, but you have to make sure also that eventually whoever who reads the report, they actually understand. Because bear in mind that sometimes, okay, the value management workshop team, okay, may be also different from the one that is going to implement. So at the end of the day, maybe the implement team, okay, or the VM project implementation team, okay, who is going to implement the proposal, okay, they are going to refer back what the VM workshop team members have done. So this is also critical that whatever you put into your report, it must be also understandable by the ones that is going to execute. But of course, most of the time it could be the same person who actually execute, but it could be also different. So that's why your report has to make clear, even for future references, okay, you may put it as later on, okay, if you include it after you finish out with the lesson learned, etc., for future database or data records. It has to be, people understand what has been done as a matter of fact. And then also your language, I will say your tenses for your report. A lot still you are using future tenses. So in the sense that I can also ask whether in actual fact has the workshop been conducted. If everything you still use future tenses, will. So these are some of the things that you all should take care of. Yeah, I think that is more or less from me, based on what I can recall. And then I think majority has been covered by Surveyor Lee already. Also, I think certain groups, okay, make sure you understand how you identify your poor value, okay, your value index. Okay, whether you take your value index more than 2 is poor value, or is it 1 is poor value? Because I still see some of the mixture, or some don't even have poor value, but you do a VM. So at the end of the day, you make suggestions, so it has to tie back whether there is actually a need to proceed further or not. So yeah, that is more or less about it. So apart from what Mr. Lee has mentioned, generally I see mainly is about you changing all the finishes or whatsoever, the simple one. But like you include the landscape architects or interior designer, we may expect you should go something perhaps on your design. You may change or propose your design, which make it more meaningful rather than just a swapping or changing of materials. So even changing materials, I won't say is wrong, okay? But in actual fact, you also have to be very careful in achieving your aims and objective for the outcome of the workshop. So to make sure that is in actual fact is not much of whether cost cutting or etc. Or you purposely want to increase the cost and etc. So this is one of the things. Yeah, I think that's more or less from my side lah. So really, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Felicia. How about Dr. Alima? Any remark?
I think no from me lah. Everything highlight by you and Dr. Feli.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Pak Alima.
So really, one addition is that okay, the proposal, the write up, the sequencing, okay. For example, under the assignment questions, I think we have already listed. So supposedly for the VM report, okay, it should go in sequence hand in hand, how the report presentation should be for a VM report. Because there are rationales to it why the sequencing is in such a way. So that's why it should not be what do you call it? You jumble it according to your whim and fancy. That is what I can say. So I would advise, okay, if you are hardworking, you can actually go and browse through some of the VM or VE report, which is available. You can also Google, so you can see the sequencing and the presentation of your report, the section by section. Because I saw some you lump it differently. So that is also another concern. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Felicia. Okay, so I think that's the feedback from both of us. Okay, Survey Q, are you here? Is Survey Q join the class?
Yeah, Zijian, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Then
Yeah,
Survey Q, I'll pass to you lah.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
let you
thank
do.
you.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So I already emailed the answer script, the mark answer script, to you all, student, to your Utah email. So you can check your email whether you received the mark answer script or the mark script. And there are comments inside your script, and also the marks is inside lah. So you can check, and then on Friday the coursework mark will be released. Then you can counter check again with the summary of the marks lah. Okay. So any doubts you can ask me later if you have any question or doubts on your marks. Okay. So I will just go through the comment first on your midterm test. I have compiled the comments for your midterm test. Hold on, I share screen. Okay, so a few comments here that you need to take note, right? So I saw your answer script, most of you only propose one VM improvement approach, right? But you have to read the question carefully. The question did not mention to suggest only one VM improvement approach. So that means you can suggest more than one approach. So if you only suggest one approach, then that means you have lesser marks lah for this midterm. Okay, so always read the question carefully. Even in your final assessment, always read the question carefully, right? And then second comment is that the example that you have given for the VM improvement approach, or some of you give 2 to 3 improvement approach, which is good, which is you understand what is value management really are. It's not only focus on one improvement approach, right? So some of you give the cost reduction, and then also give the functional approach, and then also another one is a compound approach, right? So if you give these 3 approach, that means you already score some marks for it already, right? You have chosen the correct improvement approach for this case, right? All right. The second question is that second comment is example given for each VM improvement approach is not appropriate or even not relevant to the approach. Okay, so I have compiled some of the things that you have mentioned in your answer, right? The first one, you make cheaper steel which having the same function and quality of it, right? You can change the type of brand, no problem. But when you say some of you give that this example is a compound approach, but actually it is a cost reduction approach instead of compound approach. Also, that means you don't really understand what is compound approach, right? So compound approach is the function is increased and then the cost is reduced, right? So if you mention here, you propose the cheapest steel which having the same function and quality, and then cheaper. So it's actually a cost reduction approach. Okay. And then second one is some of you give this East Coast Rail Link project. Yes, you mentioned this is mentioned about this in your answer, but you are not relating. That means you are not actually reading the question carefully. You have to link your answer to the case study, right? You cannot just mention, for instance, the East Coast Rail Link project, which is totally irrelevant to your this case study lah. Okay, and then third one, okay, some of you mentioned a little change of design, right, for the facility area. Okay, again, it should be cost reduction approach, it's not compound approach. So the example given by you should understand how to understand the example is relevant to which approach. Okay, and then this one, okay, the Aspen route approach, right, is applicable if the developer concerned about the life cycle cost of project Z. Okay, and then you mentioned about clear brick to create good appearance with lesser maintenance. And this example is again not suitable for Aspen growth approach. Okay. And then also some of you mentioned about there are many types of software available in the market. Okay, you should focus on the function of the project. Okay, you have four functions, right? You have the whole, you have spaces, you have elements, and you have component. Or you should focus on this, the functions of the project. The software here is more to the construction management. It's not value management. Okay, So you have to know what is value management. Or you have to focus on the functional analysis, right, of the project, the 4 hierarchy, right? Oh, okay, and then another one is okay. Example given is using larger floor tiles to the flooring. Oh, so you mentioned this one is cost reduction approach, but you are using larger floor tiles. Or in fact, if you're using larger floor tiles, right, the cost is actually higher. The cost of the larger floor tiles is actually higher. So you have to be, reasonable. I mean the feasible for the example that you are given. Must be correct lah. Makes sense. Okay. And then another one you say is developer change to concrete instead of steel. I'm not sure to. Okay, in a building you have a reinforced concrete. You have a structural frame, right? You have concrete formwork rebar. So how do you replace change to concrete instead of steel? So this example is not making sense. Okay, right? Structural is consists of concrete and steel rebar, right? Also, you are trying to remove the steel rebar. Is that making sense? So you have to be logic lah on the example given. And then another one is using plaster ceiling to decrease the usage of steel material. So I'm not sure how you relate the plaster ceiling to the reduce the steel. So have to be logic lah, huh? The example given. It's not like you Chinchai give an example, then you consider it as a correct things to relate to the approach, right? So it's not really making sense, right? And then another one is this: I will ask the architect to review again the drawing. You must remember the VM study, the VM workshop is the time where you sit down together, QS, architect, engineer, the multidisciplinary, right? Then you discuss and then you suggest idea during the creative phase. Also, as a QS, you say you ask the architect to review. So you must know in construction industry, architect is above you, above the QS, or you don't have to instruct architect to do his job, right? Design job. So again, you must relate it to the value management process, right? Or you must understand the VM process. So if you say you ask the architect to review, that means you don't really understand the value management process. Okay. Now come to the third comment. I saw quite a few students, they suggest, right? They suggest the example again. But the example is related to the construction management. It's not value management. Again, the things is not focusing on the project, the 4 hierarchy, or it's not focusing on the whole, it's not focusing on the spaces or elements or components. So, okay, for example, find supplier and contractor to negotiate, right? And then you say job management, GPS tracking, reporting. So these are all the things that not relevant to the value management. It's more towards the construction management, right? You say buy material in bulk or store material in dry and clean place, right? So these are all not value management. Okay, so basically you have to propose alternative design for the relating to the function of the project. It's not based on the construction management item. Okay. Okay, number 4, my comment, okay, not specific on the example given. I saw some of you just mention the things, repeated things again and again. You mentioned about changing to another material. So what is the another material? And then you say with the same cost and at the same time and function of material improve. This is very general. You know, anyone can write a general statement, or you have to explain in detail what is the other material that you can change, right? And then you mentioned about using advanced technology. So what is the technology? It's not specific. And then you mentioned about removing unnecessary complexity and rarely used functionality and investing in technology. So what is the technology? What is the function that you're trying to remove from the project Z? Again, it's very general. Okay, and then here also same thing. Yeah, this one is same comment, right? So not specific. So remember in your final assessment, you also, if the question requests you to give a justification, and then you want to give example, make sure you give a specific example. It's not a general example. Because anyone can write a general example, or even you can copy and paste from the internet, right? The things is very general statement. It's not specific. You have to explain in detail. Okay, number 5. Okay, did not relate to the answer to the case given. Also, when you answer, you did not relate to the project Z, and no justification explanation with example. Some of you just give a statement or no example. So that is why maybe your marks is lesser lah, because you did not provide a justification with an example. Okay, and then number 6 comment. Some of you just copy and paste from the lecture notes without relating or justify it with example, right? Maybe you have you just copy the things and then without example. So this is, you cannot just copy and paste, right? Or you have to use your own wording, and then you have to explain with and justify with example. Okay, and then number 7. Okay, a lot of students, they focus on the steel item. I know the question mentioned about the hiking steel, or the steel price is hiking, and then cause the construction cost to be higher, and then affect the developer budget, right? But you can actually suggest other alternative or beside the steel. So some students just whole answer script, right? Keep on mention about steel, alternative steel, change the steel, propose the glass, plastic, timber material to replace the steel. But you didn't mention where. Where are the elements? It's not all things can be changed, right? You have a steel rebar. You cannot change the steel rebar to glass or plastic or timber, right? It's not logic lah. Okay, so you must focus on other alternative as well. This is where you learn from in the VM workshop, right? You propose alternative. You propose a lot of idea in the creative phase, right? So you are not only focusing on steel. So this is where the area that you lose mark lah. Okay, you don't just focus on steel item. right? Okay, some other example is like, okay, change the things from steel to stainless steel, or you change the type of steel to aluminum, and then you change the steel to wood and metal. So somehow it's not specific also, the example given, right? At the end, the cost is still high, or you are not actually helping the developer to save the cost because you only focus on the steel item, right? So this is where the area that you lose the mark. Okay, and then and you have to bear in mind the steel price affect the cost of building structure the most. So the example given by you, right? You change the change to aluminum, change to stainless steel. Somehow, it's not enough, right? It's not enough to cover the construction costs. So that's why you have to propose other alternative for other parts of the building element, spaces or component. Okay, and then okay, now come to question the comment number 8. Okay, part 2 question is not answered. So part 2, if you read the question carefully, right? Okay, you have 2 parts, right? You are to relate and justify with suitable value improvement approaches with example that Great Lengths Sandhya Berhad can apply for his project. And then another part of the question, explain and justify also the most suitable approach the Great Lengths Sandhya Berhad can undertake to conduct VM study. So there are 2 questions to answer here. Most of you only answer the part 1, and then part 2 you did not answer. So you lose mark on the part 2. Okay, so always remember you have to read the question carefully, highlight it, right? Highlight it, the question before you answer, or else you will lose the mark. Okay, and then number 9 comment. Okay, wrong approach chosen to conduct the part 2. The part 2 question. The part 2 question is asking you to, the VM approach to conduct VM study. Also, if you still remember in my lecture, you have 4 VM approach. 4 VM approach. Okay, you have an in-house program in which all the teams as well as VMTC is the employee of organization, right? So meaning all of the members are in-house, okay, are internal team. And then you have another 3 approach is an in-house team members with an external VMTC, which is a hybrid team. And then you have another one is in-house team members supplemented by expert. And then you have an external VMTC. Okay, and then you have another last, the 4th approach to conduct VM, a predominantly external group of individuals to conduct the VM study. So and then you have the group who consists of all the members of VM team as well as VMTC, together with some in-house representative. Also, you must choose one of it, right? So basically you have chosen the wrong approach, or most of you choose the hybrid team. So the question actually already mentioned, the QS consultant is an experienced VMTC. Also, the answer should be, the best approach should be internal team, right? And in-house program in which all the teams as well as the VMTC is the employee of the organization. Now, the question already mentioned, the consultant QS, or you as a consultant QS is an experienced VMTC. So the developer should choose the internal team since he has a budget issue, and then since you are the QS consultant for the project Z, right? So why don't just the developer utilize or engage you as a in-house, right? The internal team VMTC. Okay, so the question already hint you. Okay, this is the part where you lose a mark because you choose the hybrid team. Okay, and then number 10, priority would be, okay, most of you mentioned you have justified it lah, like give cost reduction, and then mention that function approach also can be used, and then also mention that compound approach can be used, right? You should also list like the priority will be cost reduction and compound approach. And the function approach will be the last resort. And need to combine with the cost reduction approach and compound approach to ensure the developer can achieve construction cost within budget. So what does it mean here? Okay, if some of you only choose function approach, or you choose the most suitable, you say function approach is the most suitable, but the function approach will not help the client to reduce the cost, right? Okay, so that's why if you want to use function approach, you have to combine it with cost reduction and compound approach. Or remember the question did not limit you to use only one approach. Or you can suggest 2, 3 approaches. They can be combined to be used. But the priority should be the cost reduction, whereby the cost reduction and compound approach, whereby client can have a cost saving, right? And then you can combine with function approach, whereby you have an increased function and then the cost maintained. So with the increased function, you are able to attract more buyers, right? So that's why function approach can also be utilized in. Or function increase, cost maintain. So with the function increase, you are able to attract potential buyer. Okay, so you don't limit yourself to only one approach. Okay, so these are my comments on your midterm tests. All right, then any question from the floor regarding your midterm test, student? Any doubt or any question from you all, student, on the midterm test? No? Clear on the explanation? Okay, so
there's a question. There's a
Yeah,
question. Yeah, there's a in the chat box.
Oh, okay. I cannot see the the chat. Hold on, I look. Okay, so I have two questions here. Or if the QS is the VMTC, the roles of QS in the team will be performed by this VMTC or another QS. The roles of QS in the team will be performed by this QS. The role is still the role of QS can be still performed by the VMTC itself. Because he is a team leader, right? He coordinate, and he at the same time he can play the role as a consultant QS. All right, then go to second question. I would like to ask what is the proportion of the marks for part 1 and part 2? Okay, proportion of the marks will be okay. The proportion of the mark is almost half for the part 2 and then half for the part 1. Okay, I will also consider, like, if you answer very well in the part 1, I also give extra mark lah for the justification. Okay, so I did not limit myself to the proportion, but the approximate proportion is half. Okay, but if you answer part 1 very well, I did give extra mark for the part 1. Also, it's a bonus. Okay, Rising, I saw the question wrote the QS is being consulted by the company. So does this mean the QS is the external team? QS is being consulted by the company. So QS consultant is consultant, right? So it's consulted by the developer. So QS, the question also mentioned that the QS is the consultant QS for the project Z, right? So he is the internal team, Rising. Or you are the part and parcel for the project. You are the consultant QS for the project Z. So you are the one who engaged by the appointed by the developer, right? Also, you are the internal team. Okay, Rising. And then you mentioned from just now you said we should choose internal team, but the company had no experience on VM study. So still we choose internal team? So the question already mentioned the QS has the experience as a VMTC. The QS, the consultant QS for the project Z, he is the internal, right? So he has a few experience as a VMTC, so you should choose internal team. The question also mentioned that the steel price is hiking, and then the construction cost will affect the developer budget. So you must go to study the internal team advantages. The advantages including it will cost lesser, to conduct a VM study for the developer. Or if you appoint external VMTC, the developer have to fork out money, right, to pay the external VMTC. And it's not cheap lah, right? So since you are as a consultant QS, and then you have an experience as a VMTC, then why don't just the developer engage you as an internal team, as an internal VMTC, right? Okay. And then Zhang Hong mentioned that for the part 2 question, my understanding in the question is the QS have few rounds experience as VMTC. I think hybrid is an acceptable answer, so that to get a better outcome of VM study. Okay, I already mentioned the construction cost is a factor and affect the developer budget. So since you have an internal QS consultant as an experience, why don't you just use internal team first? I believe the developer, when he engaged the consultant QS, he should have the confidence for the QS, right? So that's why, since you have to choose the best, right? The best approach. So you must utilize the internal team first. Or if you want to use hybrid team, or the developer can consider later if you want to use hybrid team. But at the moment, you have the one talented, one experienced VNTC in your project Z. You have the consultant QS. Then why don't you just choose your internal team, which can help to the cost for to conduct the VM study is less costly. And the okay. Okay, Stanley, the question mentioned steel price is hiking, which cause project over budget. Often we think that the steel is the problem and should look into how to solve the steel issue. So we keep giving example about steel only. Or again, you have go through the practical, right? You have go through the practical, and then you must know in a project, you don't limit yourself to focus on one item only, right? Or you have go through the assignment also, right? Or did you only propose one item to reduce the cost to provide a better value for the project? Or I believe in your assignment you have proposed a few proposals, right? And it's not only limit to certain elements or certain component or certain space for the project. So you have go through the group assignment, so you must know you should not focus on only the steel price and the steel item. Stanley, you have go through practical, you have go through assignment, so you should understand you are not limit yourself to focus on only one item to improve the project, right? Okay, hope I clarify your doubt. So any more question from the floor? Any more questions, student? One experienced VMTC is enough to handle the workshop with other members that with no experience. Okay, in the question, I did not mention other members have no experience. I only mentioned the developer, he don't have experience. Yuan Yuan, right? I only mentioned, okay, consultant QS, he is experienced, and he has experience as a VMTC, right? and then I only mention the developer. He himself has no experience, right? Okay, any other question from the floor? Yeah, okay, Racing, you thought the whole company has no experience. Okay, the whole company, the developer, I only mentioned developer, but I did not mention architect or engineer. They have no experience. Oh, okay, Yun. And then why can't we assume that the other members do not have experience? Okay, so the question mentioned QS consultant is experienced, right? Okay, you can assume other members don't have experience, but it does not mean that or you engage a hybrid team since you have a choice whereby the consultant QS himself is an internal, can be internal in VMTC. Or it does not contradict, right? The company is the developer, Racing. The grad land is the developer. Okay, Xinten, I would like to ask how compound approach can combine with other approach. Okay, so let's say, okay, I'll go to, okay. Okay, Xinten, the question did not mention only one approach, right? That means you can combine with other approach as well. So meaning you can suggest cost reduction is suitable, compound approach is suitable, and then you have functional approach is suitable. So you can actually suggest more than one approach. Did I answer you, Xinten? Xinten, okay. You think compound include reduce cost and increase function, so still can combine with other approach will be better? Okay, again, the question did not limit you to only one approach, right? So you can suggest more than one. So you can mention cost reduction is suitable, and then you can mention functional approach is suitable, then compound approach is suitable. So if you mention only one, then you have lesser mark only, meaning your point to score the mark is insufficient if you keep only focus on compound approach. Or if you still remember in the lecture notes, I have given you one, okay, lecture 4. Okay, lecture 4, right? The slide implementation of VE in public project. Oh, I will share screen. Okay. Okay. So if you still remember this, right? You don't limit yourself to only one approach. For one project, you can have a few approach. So if you only choose one, then whereas others approach is also suitable, but you did not mention, then you will lose the mark. Okay. So you can choose more than one approach. Yeah, so Xinten, oh, you get me right? Okay, any more question? Yeah, most of you I have mentioned, and then at the end you only choose one, right? But actually you can you can choose more than one. Any more question from the floor? Again, Kaga, of course, the question asked more suitable. The question, okay, the suitable, I did not mention the most. The suitable value improvement approaches. Approaches with S. So always read the question carefully. I did not mention the most. Any more question? So always in the final assessment also, remember read the question a few times. Don't just too eager to answer and then you miss out any parts of the important hint in the question. Because this one is somehow the question is open, so you must read the question double, triple times to get the correct hint. Okay, the second part, right? The approach to conduct VM study. You have two parts, right? Relate and justify the suitable value improvement approach with example. And then another part, explain and justify also the more suitable approach. The developer, the Great Lakes and Berhad can undertake to conduct VM study, for his project. Okay, Shui Ying. If you still remember my lecture 3, you have this, right? 4 approaches to conduct VM. Okay, so the question you have 2 parts, I will not ask you to relate and justify, and then another. I ask the question twice, right? I will not ask the question twice. There is a part 1 and part 2 here. So that's why I say don't so eager to quickly answer the question, or you must read the question carefully. And it's an open test, an open book test. Any more questions from the floor? Or last 2 minutes. Okay, Kaga, you mentioned about okay, you have this concern, right? But again, I can only advise to read the question double, triple time again. Huh? There is 2 parts for the question. Okay. So always remember in final assessment, no, read the question carefully. No? 2 parts. If there is 2 parts, then the lecturer will not separate the things lah. You have 2 parts here. All right. So no more question from the floor. So if no more question, I will pass to Surveyor Lee. You have something to mention to the student, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, class. If you still have a further inquiry about your midterm, maybe you can further check with Miss Q later lah. Okay, because we still remain 30 minutes. Okay. By the way, I have sent you all your peer evaluation link. Okay, kindly ask your team member to complete the peer evaluation today. After today, I will stop collecting the response, and then I will calculate your marks. Okay, your peer evaluation marks, and then I will include your peer evaluation mark in your group assignment marks. And then subsequently, I will only send to you all, okay, respectively by group per group. Then you only will know about your group assignment mark. Okay. Okay, the next agenda is pertaining your final assessment. Let's complete this first. Okay, for your final assessment, similarly, I start with the briefing first. I start with the briefing first. Okay, so for your final assessment, okay. Oops. Why cannot? Okay, for your final assessment, it will be conducted on 15. Okay, it will be conducted on 15 September. Time will be 9 to 12, 3 hours. Similarly, that means that actually it's next Wednesday lah. So as usual, you need to join the channel. Okay, I will start the channel earlier lah. So meaning to say that you should join in the channel. Okay, although there's no no discussion and so on, but you need to join in the channel while the FA is being conducted. The reason is that if let's say there's any announcement, anything, you all can I can make the announcement immediately. Okay. So later I will create the channel for the FA. Okay, 15 September 9 a.m. Okay, so actually you have experienced the procedure is alike like the midterm. It's alike like the midterm. Okay, but for this round, for your final assessment, this round you have two questions. Your midterm you only have one. This round we have two. And then you need to answer the two questions within 3 hours. Okay, so later we only talk about the scope and so on. So similarly, you need to answer all the questions, the only two questions, and then you need similarly you need to upload the answer script by 12 p.m. 12 noon, just as the similar practice in your assignment. When the time reach 12, it is not the time for you to answer your script anymore. It is the time for you to start uploading your answer script. Okay, so meaning to say that, not saying that under 12 noon you still want to complete the last paragraph or last sentence and so on. Supposingly until at 12 you will be stopped writing, and then you will proceed with the uploading process. Okay, similarly you need to prepare for that. So of course during the 3 hours, okay, you can PM me using the MS Team, or else you can email to each of the lecturers. Okay, any of us, you can just email or you just MS Team. Okay, an important reminder: no copy and paste, no discussion, no sharing of answer. All of these are deemed to be the plagiarism action. If let's say you are caught red-handed, so what we will be handling is as per the SOP. That means that the exam SOP, okay, will be treated equally. Just like last time you have your final exam, will be treated equally. Same SOP will be applied in here. But of course, this round we are using the open book test, so you can refer to any books, okay, notes, lectures, and so on. But of course, you can do the citation. So similarly for the citation will be the Harvard. For the FAM student, I know that your reference style is APA. So you can for FAM student you can use APA. Okay, you stick back to your faculty practice. QS student Harvard, FAM use back the APA. Okay. After that, okay, you need to submit your answer in Word file or in PDF. But I will prefer, it's preferable for you all to submit in Word file. Okay, and then you try to make sure that your file is not exceeding 30 MB. I don't think this will be any issue lah, because it's only you have the you have the text file only. Supposedly it won't be exceeding 30 MB. So similarly for this round, okay, for your final assessment, remember, no need to write your name, but write your index number instead, rather than your name. Follow the format here. If you are QS, you follow the QS pattern. If you are BP, follow the BP pattern. Okay? This is important. Don't just simply download the script and then you just submit it accordingly. Please rename it accordingly. This is important, because in the supposingly when we mark, we know that actually we only can see your index number from the file name. Okay, for the submission of file, similarly Weber. Okay, you need to submit through Weber. Most of the time I will say I will refer to Weber, but of course alternatively, if you're afraid that, you can also email, but preferable will be Weber lah. You can submit, you can email, but email not to the personal lecturer, not the lecturer individual email. I repeat, not the lecturer individual email. Please use the email as stated here. Okay, of course, during the FA time, you will be having this briefing, this what I call this page, whereby you can locate for the email there. But I would say just use Weber. Similarly, for the submission, as per the midterm, okay, you can submit as many times as you can before the due time. That means that before 12, let's say before 12, you can submit. Okay, you can submit first round, second round, it's fine. But when I start checking, there should be your final submission. I repeat, this is very important. The reason is that I want to avoid version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4 issue. Later, what you submit is version 1, but actually you have completed version 4. That will be another problem, a serious problem. I want to make this serious. Make sure you only have, for my advice, make sure you only have one version, sole version. You don't have version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4, version 5. Don't have that. Avoid using that. And then make sure you keep saving your file. Okay? After you write something, you can click save. After you write something, you can click save. You only have one version, one latest file. Then actually you can avoid the version issue. Then when you come to the submission, okay, before I say stop, you cannot submit anymore, or while I checking, make sure you submit the correct version. Don't after the FA ended and so on, then you only saying that you only email or message me saying that, sir, actually I have another version. This will be another problem later. Okay, this is FA is more serious. Make sure you do it correctly. Because without any justification, because right now we are talking about we involve other department, we involve exam department, we involve the faculty. It's no longer me and you only. So that's why I want to make this serious. Make sure you only have one file, final version. When upon the submission, you submit it. Then actually you can solve a lot of unnecessary work later. Clear? Okay. Okay, and then make sure you submit the final version of your answer script, as mentioned here. Okay, so you don't submit part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Okay, this might not be accepted. That means that later where you have the issue, we might need to report to the faculty, to the exam, and then need to be determined case by case. Then it will be maybe end out your appeal is not attempted. There might be a possibility. Okay, so avoid that. Make sure you do it once. Okay, supposingly you only have one. Okay, you won't have the multiple. Okay, so as mentioned, even here mentioned, the answer script after the due time, the due date might not be, but there's a possibility. So that's why I say when I start chasing your submission, make sure you submit the correct file. Okay, don't have version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4. I repeat this again. Okay, similarly, the answer script, I will similarly on during the FA time, I will try to upload your answer script earlier, your template, okay, earlier, so that you can download it, you can complete it with your necessary info, including your sign, your program, index number, and so on. Okay, you can fill it first before the final assessment start. Okay, so you need to sign, you need to do your part. Okay, and then since you have 2 questions, then I would suggest that to make it easier, when you answer second question, you start at the new pages. Okay, you start at the new pages for the new question, for the question 2. Okay, so if let's say it comes with calculation, it comes with drawing and so on, if let's say you have the difficulties in using the word file to draw, of course you can use your hand to draw, but after that you need to scan it. That means that you need to scan it and then you need to load it to your word file later. You can use your hand to write, it's okay. Okay, and then you can include the page number. And then lastly is about your plagiarism. Similarly, you no need to upload to turn it in. You no need to upload to turn it in. Okay, this is to save the hassle. You no need, but we will do it if let's say we suspect there's a plagiarism cases. Okay, so I repeat again the important reminder: no sharing, no discussion, no copying among yourself. This is treated as the plagiarism action, and if let's say caught red-handed, will be handled with the SOB. Clear? Second, talking about your answer script submission, make sure you submit the correct, the final one, and then you submit it within the time. Okay, by 12, you should start submitting. Of course, I will start chasing one by one. Similarly, I will open the Weber and check one by one. So make sure you are in the team. In case I didn't receive anything, I will call you immediately. Okay, by the way, make sure you have the plan B. My advice, you have the plan B. Plan B means that, let's say talking about suddenly you have a low internet connection and so on, right? You try to have, let's say you have another handphone. Okay, in case your phone, you have this difficulty, at least you have another phone backup, which allow you can connect to the Wi-Fi. Always have the backup. Okay, don't face until the problem happen, then you only saying that, oh sir, I cannot submit due to this and that. And then we might need to see how it goes already. Avoid that. We try to avoid that, because this round is talking about your final assessment, whereby we involve the faculty, we involve the exam department and so on. So anything happens, we will act accordingly. Okay, it's not saying that you give the excuse to me, then actually then your problem is solved. It's not as simple as you think. Okay, because anything happens, we will act according to the SOP. Clear? Okay, talking about your vaccination. If let's say some of you have the vaccination on the date, on the time. Okay, firstly, of course, I want to know whether your vaccination is, you are getting your vaccination privately or you are getting your vaccination from the government. If let's say you are getting the vaccination privately, try to check with the clinic. Okay, see whether you can make the vaccination after the exam or not. Okay, if let's say the clinic cannot do so, you need to request an official letter from the clinic, because it's not saying that you just tell me saying that, oh sir, I have the vaccination, I have the private vaccination, so that's why I can't attend your FA. I already mentioned this round is FA. Okay, everything we talk about, we need the evidence, we need the supporting document. It's not saying that just email, actually you are granted for the what call the replacement. That it's not that simple. You need the evidence. So in this case, let's say you are getting the private vaccination, get a letter saying that actually the appointment cannot be rescheduled. After that, your letter you need to submit me, then possible we need to submit, or this might be a possibility, you need to submit to the exam department for the appeal. So to avoid that, I would say, firstly, check with the clinic, see whether you can get your vaccination after the exam. If let's say if can, then this will be the best solution. That means that you attend your FA, you get your vaccination afterward. Okay. If let's say you are talking about the government one, from what I know is that, okay, although your appointment, let's say your appointment is 10 o'clock, but from what I know is that as long as you go to the vaccination center in the same day, I believe you still able to receive the vaccination. Meaning to say that you are what call, you can late to go for the vaccination after taking your FA. Both vaccination and your FA are equally important. I'm not saying that, okay, you need to choose one. My advice is that if possible, get both. Okay? For vaccination, see whether you can get it after your exam. This will be much recommended, because this round is not like during your lecture practical or even your midterm. Some of you are saying that, sir, I have the vaccination, I cannot attend the class. So during that time, during the lecture or tutorial practical, yes, you have the vaccination. So usually I would say, okay, never mind, you can go ahead with your vaccination. After that, you can refer back to a recorded video. But this now we are talking about your final assessment. You don't have the recorded, meaning to say you don't, if let's say you want to go for a replacement test, you need a strong justification. Somehow it's not only, it's not determined by me, not even by the HOD. Okay? It's not saying that you send to me, send to for the lecturers here, then actually you get a replacement test. It's not that simple as you think. I want to highlight this. Okay, if let's say anything unforeseen thing happens, yes, you just proceed accordingly to the SOP, the appeal procedure. Okay, you need the supporting document. So if possible to avoid that what call the issue, I would suggest that try to attempt your FA on the day, just like your midterm. Okay, I want to make this clear because I know that later you have the vaccination and so on. So if possible, complete your FA first, then you only proceed your other things. I'm not saying that your other thing not important. It's equally important, just that you do it after your FA. Clear? Okay, so mark down your calendar and then mark down your time. Okay. Pass this message to your friend who absent today. Clear? Okay. Dr. Felicia, do you have anything to remind to the student about the FA? Yeah, or Surveyor Q or Point Alima, do you have any reminder to the student about the FA?
Nothing for MFA, but I need to replace the tutorial class for the students. Never mind. You try to finish your FA first lah.
Okay.
Okay, you done?
Okay. Okay. Lastly, I think most of the students, they will start concerning about the FA questions. Okay, so basically there will be two parts. There will be two parts. There will be two questions. Pretty simple, not two parts, two questions. Okay, so for my questions, you will start wondering, oh, sir, or whether your question come from which chapters lah. For my question, I would say actually it is an open type question. Open type question. Of course, firstly, you need to understand the fundamental first, meaning to say that you need to know what is VM first. Okay, you really need to know what is VM first. At least you know what is VM, then you only able to answer the questions. Okay, I won't say that actually the question is typically from which chapter or which week, but I would say actually you need to understand the whole thing for my part. Okay. Okay, then Puan Alima, perhaps I think the student also want to know about your question.
Okay. Okay, for the second part, for the second question, I did mention just now in lecture. All right, I highlight something in lecture. Okay, meaning the process of to answering my part. Okay, I did mention just now. Okay, if you still remember. Okay. Dr. Lee, severely.
Okay, so for those who are, let's say you still unsure, you can refer back to the recorded video later. Okay, so I open for Q&A about your FA. What do you mean by sub question? No, actually it's only, do you mean the sub question like question 1, I have 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D like that? Is it? Kaka? Do you mean that? No, just like your midterm. One question, one long question. You have two long question, put it simple lah. Okay, as mentioned, I will mention for my question, you need to understand what is VM. Okay, then you only can answer the question. It's an open type question, I would say. So that's the reason the midterm is alike the. That's why that's the purpose of having the midterm. Actually, the midterm, the process is just like the rehearsal for your FA. It's just alike only. Okay, just that your midterm you only have one question, then your final assignment you have two questions. Okay. So you read through all my topic. My topic, you should focus as well. I would say throughout the 14 weeks, though. Okay. You need to know the fundamental. You need to know what happens, or what actually VM happens. What is VM? Then of course, don't forget also. If let's say talking about my question, of course my question is not related to Puan Alima part lah. Okay, for the HOD, take the assessment rules and regulations seriously. Yes, this is mentioned, highlighted already, talking about avoid cheating, plagiarism cases, offense. Okay, attempt your FA with your best effort, and then submit the document. You did the time as per the as per the requirement. Okay, so Yifeng, does one question have part 1 and part 2? What do you mean by part 1 and part 2? Do you mean by just alike the midterm? Okay, to answer the question, you read the questions lah. Okay, possible. I would say possible. I would say possible. Question 2 only cover the lecture conducted just now. Okay, this question I leave to Puan Alima.
Nope.
Okay,
refer back to the previous topic also. Okay, you need to link back the VM CP, etc., and the sustainable development. Okay, the risk, the integration of risk and value management. Not to this topic only. I would say all topic 5. You need to apply.
Okay, and then next question. Is it the topic covered by me and only covered by me and Puan Alima? How about Miss Q? I would say Miss Q, Q part is important as well, because that one is the what I call some intro. Okay, you should know the intro part first. You should know the intro part first. In certain extent, yes, you need to know Miss Q part in certain extent. Okay, my part relevant to Miss Q lecture. In certain extent, I would say yes. Okay, in certain extent, I would say yes. Is there any calculation? This answer I won't answer. I won't answer this question. I won't answer. Okay, you will know it during the FA. Which phase of the workshop is more important? If let's say I want to answer, I will answer every phases, because you need to know what happens in each phases, what actually it really happened in that phases, what are the activities, what are the tools involved. Okay, whether you need to sketch diagram, if let's say there's a need to what call to support with the diagram, you can do so, no issue. Okay, Wanjun, if let's say you want to sketch the diagram to support your answer, yes, you are free to do so. No issue. So basically, I already mentioned, okay, you have so many phases. Probably you will start wondering which question the question is more pertaining to which phases. My answer will be you need to know all the phases first. Then actually you only able to answer the question. Scenario-based questions. It is more like open type questions. It is more like open type questions. Scenario. Scenario. Do you mean that there's a condition happens? Is it there's something happens? It's just like your midterm, is it? What you're trying to ask? Not really about that. Like Miss Q question. Not really about that. Not really about that. Yes, just as mentioned by Dr. Felicia, if you understand the basic principle, you understand the concept behind, then when you come to answer, then actually you're able to think, about, then you're able to think about it lah. Yeah. Firstly, you still go back to the point that you need to understand the fundamental first. What is the word limit lah? Okay, so similarly, usually I won't say there will be a word limit lah, but you need to know that actually you need to answer 2 questions within the 3 hours. Okay. I wouldn't say that there will be a word limit or page limit lah. But more importantly is that you need to answer 2 questions within the 3 hours. So I just wonder how many words actually you're able to produce. Okay, as mentioned, important is your quality of the answer. Extra tips are. The extra tip I already mentioned, you need to understand the fundamental. If got Excel, do you need to use Excel? If let's say there's a calculation, similarly, you can use Excel. After that, you can print in the Excel and then you attach back to the Word file. Okay. So similarly, you have any diagram. You can draw. Of course, let's say you cannot use the computer to draw, you can use your hand to draw, but you need to scan it and then you need to incorporate into your Word file. Is it like your practical one? Your practical one, you are using the Padlet. What is the question will be uploaded few minutes before? Yes. Okay. I will, if possible, I can upload it slightly earlier, no issue. Okay. Is it like your practical one? I don't get your question. Your practical one is like a scenario based. If not mistaken, I still can recall. You have the lambda, delta construction where you have the swampy area and those on, right? That one is more like a scenario based lah. May I know, is there any advice to score in the questions? To score any advice? To answer these questions, you answer to the questions. You answer the correct question, so answer according to the question asked. So. Answer straight to the point is the is more important. That's why, yeah, yes. Actually, the tips is mentioned by Survey Q as well. Okay, you answer straight to the point, but provided that you understand the fundamental first. So, if let's say you want to talk about extra tips lah, of course I would say that let's say you talk about I would say that lah. I even will say that lah. The info or the note, sometimes the info or the notes might just to give you some idea, but won't what call you cannot rely only the slide to answer the question. So the slide, the lecture note, in certain extent will assist you. Theory need to write long. Upset with your midterm marks. Okay, I answer one by one. Upset with your midterm mark, then you work hard for your final exam. Okay, final assessment. Okay, theory need to write long.
Mr. Lee, is it okay if they answer in a point form?
You want point form is okay, but make sure your point form is comprehensive enough lah.
You have the points, you have the elaboration, and also the examples.
Yeah. Point form is certain extent we will say that actually it's a simplified point, correct? That's why we call it as point form. But FAs, you know that actually for FA you need to describe, you need to explain, you need to justify. If let's say you want to write in point form, make sure your point form is full with the justification, is full with the explanation. So actually it does not make any difference when you write in a long essay. If let's say you want to write in point form, yes, maybe you write in point A, then followed by the full explanation, then point B, full explanation, then it's okay. That means that you arrange it, you make it clear what actually you want, you try to express, then it's okay. So you point A, so a short point, then followed by the full description, then the next point, followed by the full description. Oh, acceptable, no issue. Okay. My final one eye close, one eye close, one eye open. Depends on your answer lah. Okay, this one only can be right now. I don't know. I don't know yet. Need to see your overall. Who will mark the FA? Basically will be marked by me and Puan Alima. Okay, and then the next questions. Can we have tutorial answer? Chi, if you have attended tutorial, I don't see you have the difficulties in getting the answer. Because in tutorial, most of the time during the tutorial, okay, I believe the lecturer will discuss with you all the answer. Rather than we give you what called the sample answer. Because more importantly, is you go to the tutorial, okay, and then through the discussion, you see how your answer can be further improved. Essay or point form. I would say both. I will accept. For me, I will accept. Similarly, if let's say you want to point form, okay, you can have point form, then you follow by the full what call a full explanations law. Even your point form, make sure actually is in a complete sentence lah, just like Dr. Fisher mentions lah. Just example. Let's say you talk about, let's say just like your assignment. Let's say you talk about the reason of advocating VM. Let's say for example, okay, the reason. Let's say your FA is about the reason of advocating VM. Let's say you talk about enhanced value. In your point form, let's say you only give enhanced value, then actually definitely you know that you cannot score law. Then definitely you need to answer. You need to explain why actually you just why you say that actually it can enhance value by the full explanation lah. Yes, point form or essay actually is not a big issue to a certain extent. Not a big issue. More important is your comprehensiveness, your comprehensiveness, your quality of your answer given. Qian asks, FA question is straight to the point, or you have to read many times like midterm. My answer to it, you need to think. After you read, you need to think. Okay, you need to think. Because already mentioned, it's an open type question. You need to think. Of course, we will try to avoid the ambiguity words lah. That means that we try to avoid some confusing words for your FA. Okay. Okay, I leave it to other lecturers. But Leon, perhaps you might need to add up something.
Okay, students, I haven't complete a tutorial for group 6. Okay, for group 6 because last time we have public holiday, right? So I have to replace the class. So I suggest is it today is it okay today 2 p.m. Group 6 and BP group? Is it okay 2 p.m.? Or else maybe we do it on Saturday lah. Choose one, whether today or Saturday. Okay, if no issue, so I'll proceed to today 2 p.m. lah. Okay, group 6 and BP 2 p.m. All right. If any issues, please let me know. Yeah. Anything to highlight, students?
Or any questions? You want to ask about your, because seems like just now all the questions, any question to Puan Alima? I mean, from student?
Anything? Anything, students?
Okay, so just a last reminder lah. You just if let's say you still unclear what VM is, better to make it clear first lah. Okay, okay, perhaps Puan Alima will brief about your individual assignment.
Individual assignment. Okay, I just finished marking your individual assignment, but things to highlight is I would say that most of you answer the questions it's too general. Okay, you did not apply it to KL South project. Okay, that is one of the important thing. And then the second one is the problem is on your citation. Okay, citation problem. You got lesser marks because of your citation. I can say that for the whole points, okay, for the whole points that you elaborate, you just refer to one journal articles, okay, instead of you make it variety, okay. We train you for your final year project, okay. You cannot only refer to one source. You need to have lots of academic resources, okay. And And some of the students, okay, you just 100% you copy from lecture notes. Okay, in lecture notes, I just give you, I give you points, then I elaborate, right? But you take the points and then you just write back what I explained in class. Okay, so why? If you just like copy and paste the thing I elaborate, why don't you just submit me the lecture notes, okay, instead of your own report, okay? And then the issue is mm, 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 the format lah, okay, the format of the report, okay, because it is the report it should be like, yeah, it should be a report, okay, numbering, okay, you should have a numbering instead of question 1 and question 2, okay, because we are not answering final exam, okay, you are doing report, okay, you should have you should clear with the format of report. Limited studies about the, what do you mean limited studies of IVRM? Or you mean limited resources about IVRM? No lah, got lots. Huh? Don't limit yourself to Malaysian sources only. I found a lot. Okay. Any more issues? If nothing, I think we end the class lah. Okay, it's 11:50 already. So Mr. Lee, Miss Q, Dr. Feli, anything to highlight?
I think my part, I think we have briefed the necessary info lah.
All right. So all right. So class, I think that's all for our today's lecture. Was so long lecture. All right. So thank you very much. So for group 6, I'll see you 2 p.m. Okay. Okay. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, class. And then we'll see you all again in your coming Wednesday. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.